Are live first down Rams. We are back after a long hiatus, and myself, Payo Time, and my incredible co-host Rams. Rams, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Happy to be talking Rams on First Down Rams again. It really
Yeah,
has felt like it's been too long. So
it,
there's
it
been
really.
quite a few things that's happened since our last show. I'm excited to talk about them with you tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure all you want to talk about is Cooper Cup was talking about Sean McVay on the Rich Eisen show today or something, right? Like nothing big has happened, right?
No, yeah, this offseason's definitely been very dry, very boring, which is unfortunate. But I mean, we're here to talk Rams, which I guess I'll take.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, if we're gonna call ourselves Rams YouTubers, I guess we may get on YouTube and talk
Yeah,
about the Rams.
it's probably the smart thing to do.
It is a pleasure to be back with you, my friend, and of course, all of you watching, whether you're watching on the replay or live with us right now, thank you so much for being here. We truly love the fact that we have a place on the internet, a little corner of the internet where we can just nerd out about the Rams.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so much fun.
So before we get to our show, we got to shout a couple people out. I see we got Kyle here, we got Timothy here, we got Porter here. We're going to talk about Jimmy G at some point here, I'm sure. We got Muabdeeb here. Over on your channel, we got at Kama Covey,
What's up,
Camille
Kamal?
Covey, Kamal. There we go. That's better. My bad. My bad. But good to see you all. But thank you all for tuning in with us live. And so Rams says after the preseason game, which let's face it, that was a fun preseason game,
Yeah.
right? I think a lot of people were excited to see Ty Simpson, and they were excited to just see Rams football again. But I'm curious, did you expect going into that game to see as much of Ty Simpson as we did?
I think the amount that we saw Ty Simpson did not surprise me. In
Yeah,
fact, heading into that game, I was almost expecting Stetson Bennett to not even get a drive, and that was just because I thought the Rams were so sure that he was going to be QB2. So I thought Ty Simpson would get most of the game. So that part definitely didn't surprise me. It was more so just the way he looked. I don't know
yeah,
about you, but that was the thing that really surprised me about it. Is you obviously know he only played 15 games in college, and you know he's raw.
yeah,
He's not meant to start this year. And
yeah,
so I expected to see a lot of Ty Simpson, but what I expected to see was an up and down performance and one that truly showed like, okay, he's a rookie. He's still getting comfortable to things. He might not have a good throw here, good throw there. But to me, he just looked comfortable and in command,
yeah.
which is what was really impressive to me. And I know it's
You have
preseason, it's vanilla and all of that, but that
yeah.
definitely surprised me the way he performed.
Yeah, I really appreciated you had a video that came out after the game, kind of talking about it, and you used that exact word, comfortable. And I
Mm-hmm.
just, as soon as you said that in your video, I was like, yeah, that is the perfect word because that's what you want, right? People make a big deal. He went 21 of 25, which is fantastic for
Mm-hmm.
your rookie preseason debut. But a lot of those throws were the layup, comfortable throws, getting a rhythm. But what more do you want out of your rookie first round draft pick that you're developing
Mm-hmm.
behind a Hall of Fame quarterback in Matthew Stafford, right? Like
Yeah.
I do you want him to come in the preseason and be like, oh, that's the next Patrick Mahomes or something? Like, no, I think that's unrealistic. And I the more and more I've been thinking about like the Ty Simpson, Stetson Bennett quarterback two battle, I'm of the mindset of at some point this season, Ty Simpson likely will be the backup quarterback to Matthew Stafford. But if it's not week one, that's okay. Like, like you the Rams drafted him with a luxury draft pick. It's awesome that they're out of the quarterback, gold rush that is going to be next draft. And I think it's pretty exciting for Ty Simpson, and he seems like he has the humility and gratitude to recognize the opportunity that he has as a professional quarterback. That if he is third string week one, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just because they drafted him to develop him. But yeah, like what are your thoughts on kind of the Stetson Bennett, Ty Simpson QB2 battle?
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked because I definitely went into it like I was saying last week. Heading into this game was just like, okay, the Rams are going to have Stetson Bennett be QB2 all year long. And he's probably going to be looking more comfortable, even though his upside might not be as good as Ty Simpson and the skills might not be as good. He's probably going to look more comfortable. But with the way that Ty Simpson did look in this game, I think it definitely opened my mind up to the possibility of the fact that, hey, maybe this guy really is more ready than I thought, especially
Mm,
not being able to be at training camp and see how he was looking and all of that. This was my first exposure to seeing him in an NFL kind of game and kind of setting. And so I think it wouldn't be as surprising now to have Ty Simpson be QB2. The only thing that gives me a little bit of a pause on that idea is just the fact that Stetson Bennett does know our scheme better, and he has
yeah,
been in the NFL for a number of years.
yeah,
So from just that, as McVay says, an above the neck kind of mentality, he's going to be able to know the offense better. He's going to know defenses better. But from a pure talent standpoint and how comfortable he looked on the field, I was thinking in my head, like, if we need to see Ty Simpson because Stafford goes down or in a week 18 game that doesn't really mean anything, I would not be surprised to see him have a similar performance and look comfortable because he does have great players around him and he's got a great coaching staff around him to where maybe that idea of him being QB2 in whatever game, hopefully we don't need him at all this year,
yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me as much as it did heading into that game.
yeah. Yeah. Let's go to a couple comments coming in here. I see some people got some opinions, and
Mm-hmm.
we love a good discourse about the Los Angeles Rams. So let me. Oh, I had a comment here. Yeah. So shout out Der Wolf Pack. Good to see you. Jay Sind is here. Fitness, boxing, music. What
Mm.
up? Good to see you. And Porter saying, for Ty, I want to see deep balls versus the Saints. Yeah, let it sling a little bit. Yeah, that's right. Kamal saying he looked like the whole game was scripted, which is great. This week he can show off some more reads and carve up that zone. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
agree. And I think he's saying he disagrees with me when I'm saying a lot of his throws are layups. Fair. No, that's fair. And I'll give the context of I felt like a lot similar to what was said earlier is it was scripted and you saw him go to a lot of his first and second reads in it. Not that layups is definitely not a shot of like to take away from the performance of it for sure.
Yeah. And I
Um
think that too, the Rams, the way they designed it was like the first few drives that he was in there, it was supposed to be kind of easier, roll out a
yeah,
couple, like first couple of reads, run if it's not there, because you're trying to get a guy comfortable who hasn't
yeah,
played an NFL game before. But I think those of us who watched know that like from the fourth quarter on, the Rams kind of opened up the playbook.
yeah,
It wasn't so much of just the bootleg play action, just 1 and 2 read kind of throws that he was doing to begin. But that was because I think it was by design to get him comfortable. And then by the time that happened, it's not that he made every single throw in the book and had every single concept called, but I definitely saw the playbook open up and the Rams trusted him enough to be able to do that as the game went on, which is definitely encouraging.
yeah, absolutely. Moody said this week they're going to cover the under game that leaves deep passes wide open. Simpson throws a 70-yard bomb this week. Oh, you heard it here
Ooh,
first. I like it. Call it
I
out.
love that. I love that.
I still think they can pick him later rounds or get another quarterback. Okay. Um, Fitness Box is saying, being a quarterback myself, Ty Simpson is the guy over Bennett. Fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. And USA expert surprise impression with
Yeah,
Lasky.
I was impressed with that too. There were quite a few Rams that I mean I didn't even really recognize the name too much, which you'll see in preseason.
Yeah.
But I was impressed with the way they performed. Was there anybody for you outside of Ty Simpson that you were just impressed with? Any players?
I had a video earlier this week, and I had yeah, you can't not talk about Dean Connors. I know you talked
Yeah.
about him earlier too, right? Like that's I don't know if he makes the Rams roster, but I think he makes someone's roster, if not
Mhm.
like practice squad or something. Like you always pull for an undrafted, guy like that come on in, play really well, scored 2 touchdowns. I'm not going to let the Jacob Harris hype syndrome
Yeah.
of a couple years ago affect me again. But it was cool to see a guy like Dean Connors, get some good work in and get some good film that he can use for, his career. Um, I I think that like oddly enough, this might seem weird, but like I was really happy to see Xavier Smith have a good game
Yeah.
because I feel like so many Ram fans have been just like trashing on him all off season long because of the fumble in the NFC Championship game, which totally get, like, very
Hmm.
frustrating. But he is someone that I feel like had to have a good camp, and seeing him get some time in the preseason, when you're playing in the preseason and you're on the Rams, you're like, oh, is your roster spot in jeopardy?
Yeah.
But I felt like he had a good game, and that legitimizes, like, okay, Xavier Smith is making this roster. Like, we don't
Hmm.
need to talk about him not making the roster. It's just a matter of like how much involvement he'll have, right?
Yeah. I think it was a good thing that you brought up special teams too. Just in particular with Xavier Smith, everybody thinks about special teams. And that was definitely something that I noticed being improved. We know
Yeah,
that Bubba Ventrone, new special teams coordinator, came in. We know that there's the Rams were really trying to make a push to be able to improve special teams because it did cost them games. And that was evident. But I loved the fact that we still had Mevis making those kicks being automatic in this preseason game. Like there was not a question if he was going to make it. I just love not having the kicker woes anymore. That is always going to be a good thing. But even Xavier Smith, as you talked about, that 140-yard punt return that he had, I definitely saw a lot more urgency in the returns that they had. And
yeah.
I mean, they were by no means perfect. There were still things to clean up, like punt coverage. I noticed in particular is probably something they could still improve on, but you kind of notice some of the investments that they made. And Xavier Smith, happy for him because, like you said, a lot of the fan base is against him. Glad he was able to field it cleanly every time
Yeah.
and even have a good return too. That was definitely good to see.
Well, and that's something that I feel like doesn't get talked about as much anymore as it did during the season, because people seem to just forget about special teams when the offseason
Yeah.
gets around. But like, if the Rams special teams isn't a liability at times last year, they probably lock up the number 1 seed, right?
Hmm.
Like based on just kind of how like the 49ers game and the Eagles game alone went down. Uh, I really also think that it was something that Seattle had over the Rams. Their
Yeah.
special teams was just, they played better in 2 of those 3 games.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, so I'm excited to see what Bubba does. I think that I think that from what I've gathered from Sean McVay's press conference, he is holding the special teams unit more accountable this year than he necessarily has in the past. And I think if the Rams can get their special teams to be a reason why they might actually win a game, watch out, because
Yeah.
this team like will be even better on paper than what we think.
Because as much as I want to say the thing that I typically say of like, with as good as of a team as this is, you really don't need to have an elite special teams. Just don't mess the job up. But
Yep.
selfishly, I've like we've been saying that as Rams fans for so long since shout out Johnny Hecker, who you're wearing his jersey of, since he left, since Bones Fossil left, Pharaoh Cooper, Tavon Austin, all those
Okay.
guys. Like the Rams, yeah, Greg Zerline too. The special teams definitely used to be a weapon for the Rams, and a lot of the team wasn't for a good majority of when the Rams special teams as a weapon. But it would be fun to be able to have it be a weapon again. I think for the Rams to win a Super Bowl, it doesn't need to be. It just needs to not mess things up and not screw up what their job is. But like if we can have even a trick play or a kick or punt return this year, that would be fun.
Well, and do you think it's possible that like the Rams developing that philosophy of like, we just don't want special teams to lose us the game has actually kind of hurt them, of like it, it makes your margin of error so much less, so that if your special teams does make a mistake, like, it hurts that much more.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think a lot of what has made the special teams not great is the Rams just don't invest a lot into it until
Yeah,
like this offseason. And so I feel like it's like they're investing in all of the shiny, cool toy stuff, and then special teams kind of gets kicked to the side. And
yeah,
it's like, a lot of their investments, you don't have to go crazy on special teams, but you were just talking about Seattle and the team that they had and how their special teams was better. But you look at the way they invested into it and the money that they put into it, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense why that's such a good special teams. I think for the Rams, it's just kind of something that they brushed to the side so much to where it eventually had to catch up at some point. But now, hopefully, with these changes, the glimpse we saw in preseason, and even shout out what First and Tuna was talking about in training camp, with him being there, talking about how special teams looks better. Hopefully, all of that stuff is leading to a lot better special teams this year.
yeah. We got a couple more questions here in the chat, and I apologize if I missed your comment. There's some really good ones coming on in here, but the first ones I'm seeing here is real question: what gives Bennett the number 2 spot? He is supposed to be more experienced in year 3, but he has never been QB2 and did not look experienced in his limited action. Slant to CJ was not close. Fair question, Rams Faithful 39. And if that's a reference to Steven Jackson, that's an awesome user handle.
Love it. That's so cool.
Um, I think that, well, I do believe Bennett was the backup when Jimmy G was suspended for 2 games. But other than that, you're right. He's only ever been quarterback 3 in that like emergency role. I don't. What are your thoughts on this question? Like, is it a lock that Bennett at least goes into the season as the backup?
That's the thing. It doesn't feel as much like a lock as it did before to me. It felt so kind of guaranteed. When you watch a front office, you watch the coach or the GM, you kind of understand their patterns, what they value, and all of that. And that's just kind of where, for so long, I was just thinking it just makes sense. Stetson Bennett, just with his experience at the time of the offense, the fact that, I mean, he played a lot more college games than Ty Simpson did. That's kind of where I was leaning with it. And just looking at history, the Rams like to value experience and time in their system rather than just throwing somebody new out there, especially who doesn't have a lot of college snaps. But I still don't say it's a total lock anymore as I thought. That doesn't mean that like I'm fully locked in thinking that now Ty Simpson's QB2, but it definitely feels like the door's open more. But I also acknowledge that like this was only one preseason game that we saw. Who knows? Maybe it's a completely different performance that Ty Simpson puts up, or maybe they give Stetson Bennett more run and he looks good. I would say again, the talent of Ty Simpson looks a lot better than Stetson Bennett to me, and just a lot of his traits are just inherently better just coming in, and that's why he was a first round pick. But really, I think the big reason why a lot of Rams fans were thinking Stetson Bennett would be QB2 and maybe still are is simply just the time on task in the Rams offense. I think that's the biggest thing. But I think it was the Rams Bros on their podcast. They were talking about how when Ty Simpson was in there, he made quarterback look as easy as it could be. Like it didn't look like it was hard for him. But
Yeah.
all the games we've seen Stetson Bennett in his career with the Rams in preseason, I don't know about you, but a lot of them did feel difficult, or it felt very play to play, like you just didn't know what you're going to get. So that's definitely going to be something to monitor.
Yeah, he had some good preseason games. He really did. And I think like I saw someone, I forget who, I'm sorry if I wanted to shut you up, but I saw someone on Twitter say like Ty Simpson had a great game, but we've seen Stetson Bennett have great games and bad games in the preseason. Like, let's not overreact after one game, which like is a valid point to make.
Yeah.
But I think that to answer this question specifically, what gives Bennett the number 2 spot? I think it's just McVay and where he feels Stetson Bennett is in his development, in his place in his career. And then they're still developing Ty Simpson, and they don't need to rush Ty Simpson in, to any kind of circumstance, right? So I kind of stand by my opinion that I think Stetson Bennett will go into this season as the backup quarterback, and probably somewhere along the line, I think Ty Simpson starts to be the backup like mid-season or something like that. But only time will tell.
Yeah. be curious to see how all of that ends up playing out. But I think that just the last thing to add on to this point that now shouting out another different Rams creator, Sheriff Joe Bags made.
Do it.
He was talking about the fact that yeah, like whether one has a bit more talent than the other with Ty Simpson and Stetson Bennett. He was talking about the fact that it does help for the Rams coaching staff as a whole to know Stetson Bennett really well, to know not only the things he does well, but the things that he doesn't do well, and having more
Yeah,
of that exposure to like, okay, let's not call this kind of play or this kind of concept because we've seen in practice, we've seen in preseason games, it's just not a fit for him. Whereas with Ty Simpson, it's still somewhat a projection because we only saw that one preseason game. They've only seen him for one training camp. So maybe there is some weight to that of just understanding Stetson Bennett as a person, but also understanding with all the time they've had with him, what he can and can't do, kind of know his limits a little bit more. Maybe that has some weight to it.
definitely. Rob is saying Connors wowed me. Ty showed me he belongs. Xavier Smith showed me enough to keep faith in him. Still think Stetson is quarterback 3. And I know I kind of gave my general thoughts on Dean Connors, but I don't like. Do you think he's going to make the 53-man roster?
That's a hard thing. So I think the way you put it was perfect. That Dean Connors probably makes a bunch of different kinds of rosters. I just don't know if it's the Rams. And
Yeah.
it's not anything to take away from what he can do. I just think that the Rams running back room is pretty loaded right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think best case scenario for Dean Connors would be making running back 3. And the hard thing with that is the Rams really trust Ronnie Rivers, who's running back 3 right now. And they didn't even play him in preseason, which usually is a good thing for the Rams because it means there's no more evaluating. They kind of know who they are. That usually means the player is safe. So you would have to get past Ronnie Rivers, who didn't play in a preseason game, which is already tough. But then you also have Jarquez Hunter, who got a lot of playing time in this preseason game, who the Rams, I'm trying to remember what round they drafted him last year, somewhere between the 3rd and the 4th, I think. Maybe the 5th, probably 3rd or 4th, though. Either way, the Rams just invested in him. So you're going to have to clear Hunter and you're going to have to clear Ronnie Rivers. So I think at best, Dean Connors makes RB3 for the Rams. I just don't know if there's room for him, which is unfortunate because I think he is a player that can go to a number of teams and do well. What I talked about after the game wrapped up that I was really impressed with Dean Connors is like I loved his ability to be able to get yards that didn't look like were there. I don't know how to phrase that any better, but every time it looked like a situation where he'd get tackled or maybe he'd get 5 yards, he'd find a way to get 9, and he'd find a way to get out of situations. It was good contact balance, good movement. So I definitely value him. It's just like it's going to be tough with the way the Rams roster is right now for an undrafted running back to be able to make it. But we've seen crazier things before on this Rams team, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We got lots of great comments in here. I apologize, everyone. I'm not going to be able to get to each and every one of them, but we do have a couple of segments that we want to get to you with you guys in the chat here. Anyone who's watched our show before knows that we love to have a couple of fun segments where we just have a good time talking about the Rams in various ways. So I have 2 segments for you tonight. Are you cool if I do a segment and then we do over Rams action with you and then I do my 3rd segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to play a bit of a game here, folks, and you can absolutely play along in the chat. So the first one here, it's going to be called a ranking challenge. So I'm going to give a question, and so or not a question, a statement, and then Rams House is going to have to rank my statements in without knowing which one comes next. Okay. So my statement here is rank these Les Snead trades without knowing which one comes next.
Okay.
All right.
And
So
I'm assuming highest ranking is like best kind of trade, right?
Yeah. So
okay.
Number 1 will be like your top one, and then there's 5. I have 5 scenarios here, right?
Okay.
And for context, Les Snead has traded more than any GM in the NFL since 2012 when he was hired. And that's not that hard because he's like the longest serving GM. But anyway, All this is it. Okay, so the first one. So you want to rank it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. All right, because you don't know which one is coming next. So first trade, the Rams trade 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick for Jalen Ramsey from the Jaguars in 2019.
Shout out Jalen Ramsey. I'm
Shout
going to
out
put that. I feel good putting that 2.
2. Okay, it's 2. Okay, so it's 1, 2 Jalen Ramsey acquisition from the Jaguars. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jalen Ramsey traded from the Rams to the Dolphins for a 3rd-round pick and tight end Hunter Long. Shout out Hunter Long.
Shout out Hunter Long. I think he's still with the Jags right now. I'm going to rank that one 4th.
4? Okay. Yeah. All right. So you still have your number 1 spot available. 2 Rams get Jalen Ramsey. Then 3 still available. 4 the Rams trade Jalen Ramsey away to the Dolphins. All right. Next one. The Rams trade for wide receiver Sammy Watkins for a 6th-round pick. Or sorry, they get Sammy Watkins and a 6th-round pick from the Bills. In return, the Bills received cornerback EJ Gaines and a 2018 2nd-round pick.
I like that one. I haven't heard Sammy Watkins' name in a while. We're going to put that one 3, but I'm nervous now with these last 2.
Okay. The RG3 trade. The Rams trade the 2nd overall pick, and they receive 3 first-round picks and a 2nd-round pick from the Washington Redskins at the time.
This could look bad with me putting it at 5, but I'm worried there's a really good one. So I'm going to have to put it at 5, unfortunately.
And the final one I have is the Matthew Stafford trade. The Rams gave up Jared Goff and 3 first-round picks for Matthew Stafford.
All right. Yeah, we're going 1, obviously, on that one.
You got that. Nicely done.
Those are scary.
I was seeing if I could get you to not put that at number 1.
Yeah, I mean, you were close. I was going back and forth. I was like, he could either be saving a really good trade, or it could be the most meaningless 6th-round pick swap, the less need special to put at number 1. Like
I almost put the Robert Woods trade on there, but I was like, I know he's one of your favorites, and I wouldn't want to do that to you.
Yeah, heartbreak. Hey, he's back with us now as a coach. I love that.
It's true. Awesome. Oh, thanks everyone for playing along in the chat. All right, over Rams action.
Okay, gotta knock off the rust here. It feels like it's been forever since we did over Rams action.
Yep.
And for those of you who weren't here when we were doing the show before, this is basically just a copy of what Rich Eisen does with Chris Brockman with his Overreaction Monday segment. And so I'm going to be playing basically like Christopher Brockman and be giving hot takes to both you in the chat and to Payo Time. But some of them are a little bit more realistic. Some of them are more like, oh, that's a hot take. So it's up to you guys to be able to label if it's a hot take or an over Rams action, as we call it, or if it's fair. And so I'm going to be posing that question to both you and Payo Time, starting with number 1, something that maybe we can talk a little bit about more after the segment's done, after the segments are done altogether. It's Aaron Donald, because this guy has been getting talked about the last couple of months. Is he going to return to the Rams? Is he not going to return to the Rams? I personally believe that he is, and this is what this question is framed around. Aaron Donald will have more sacks this year than he had in the Super Bowl season.
Ooh. That's an over Rams action. Only for the sole reason, like Myles Garrett's there now, Kobe Turner's there, Bobby, like there's a legitimate case that this is the best D-line Aaron Donald has ever played with, and he's played with some really talented defensive line players. Think going back to even like the St. Louis days when you had like William Hayes and Chris Long, like on that line, James
Yeah.
Laurinaitis, like I, like Brockers was with him for a long time. Like this D line Aaron Donald's coming into is legitimately possibly the best defensive line he's ever played with. And so I think he has a good year, and
Mhm.
I do think he gets the sack versus the Eagles to like
Ooh,
give
let's go.
that. But yeah, I'm gonna say that's an over Rams action in my opinion.
Okay. So, for context of those of you who do not know the 2021 Aaron Donald stats off the top of your head, he had 12 and a half sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 46 assisted tackles, 38 solo tackles. So, but basically, all I'm looking at is will he have more sacks than the 2021 season, which would mean he would have to get more than 12 and a half. That's definitely steep for
Yeah,
a defensive tackle,
yeah,
but I don't know. It's playing with Miles Garrett and Miles Garrett getting all the attention, playing alongside Kobe Turner and Byron Young and all the guys he's going to be playing with. I don't know if it's that crazy to say, but obviously we haven't seen Aaron Donald back in pads in a game yet to be able to see what he looks like. I think I just have confidence that he's going to be at least 90% of what he was. And if he's 90% of what Aaron Donald was without getting all the attention that he did, I don't know. I don't know if it's all that crazy to be able to say.
yeah. I can see it. All right. Shout out, hey Justin, good to see you, man. I'm curious what your surprise is. Oh man,
That's interesting.
All right. You're next over Rams action. That was a good one
All
though.
right.
Good start. Good
Thank you.
start.
We're going heading on to number 2, and we talked about Dean Connors a good amount in this live stream, and we're going to talk about him some more here. Ronnie Rivers right now is holding that running back 3 spot. At least that's what we expect based on the fact he didn't play in this preseason game. He's been with the Rams for a while.
Yep.
But I'm going to say Dean Connors continues to light it up in preseason to the point that the Rams can't help but make him the running back 3 this year. And he's going to be running back 3 for the Rams in 2026.
Oh, you're gonna do that to me. There is a special spot in Rams fans' hearts for Ronnie the Rushing River. I think oh like it actually pains me to say this, but I don't think that's an over Rams action. Like, do you remember when Benny Cunningham just had a phenomenal preseason, and then like he was a special teams star for the Rams for a
Yeah.
long time, right?
Yeah.
I can't help but think that Dean Connors could be the next Benny Cunningham, which is a
Mm.
huge accomplishment for an undrafted
Oh, yeah.
like running back. So yeah, I don't think that's like I see Rams faithful 39. He thinks that's an over Rams action. Camille thinks that it's not an over Rams action. I think I kind of lean this. I don't think that's an over Rams action.
I love to see the differing opinions on that because that
Oh,
means it's not an obvious answer. What do you got?
look, Sheriff Joe saying over Rams action big time. Okay, okay.
I love the confidence in that, Sheriff Joe. I have to say, I do agree with Sheriff Joe that this is an over Rams action. The problem I'm having is like it kind of goes back to the conversation we were having with Stetson Bennett versus Ty Simpson. The Rams valuing a guy who's been in their system, been in the league longer. The Rams
Yeah,
totally do that. They have a good track record of doing that, and so it's easy to go off of that. But the Rams also have a good track record of like, hey, it doesn't matter how long you've been here. It doesn't matter what your draft status is. If you're a good football player, you are going to win the job. We've
yeah.
seen that so many different times. And so that's where I'm like, okay, I can see the possibility Dean Connors takes running back 3 just because he's that good. But I just think it's a little bit too early to say this after one preseason game. I know he was a guy who got a lot of hype heading into this preseason, but I think we would just need to see some more from him. It wouldn't absolutely shock me, but based on the fact Rivers didn't even play this game, he's played in multiple playoff games with the Rams. I think it is a little bit of an over Rams action. So I'm going to agree with Sheriff Joe there.
Okay, fair. I see we got a couple comments here. Cheeky Metro saying it's almost a must. We keep a bulldog on the roster, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah, this year's first seat mentality. Yes, that's a really good point. That Benny Cunningham did return kicks. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Um, Vamos, Rams. Yes, thank you, Justin. And then I'd say this is reasonable if we had seen any Connors talk all during. That's fair.
That's a good point.
We like. I feel like all the Dean Connors hype came from like fans,
Yeah.
and then like the preseason game kicked around, and then all of a sudden there's all these people that are like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool." Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like we said, this guy is good enough to make a different roster, and he probably will. If the
Yeah.
Rams try to stash him on the practice squad, I don't think he'd last a day there. So he
No.
is a good football player, but it's tough to see him making running back
Like,
3.
I'll throw this example out there. If you're the Dolphins, right, and you're a team that doesn't have a lot of money in cap space, you're cleaning up your books, and like everyone on the Dolphins, almost all of them are on like 1 year prove it deals. Do you take a flyer on a guy like Dean Connors who had a really good preseason?
Why
Yeah,
not?
why not? Right? Yeah. So I could see it.
Yeah.
All right, do you got your next one?
Yeah. So I talked about Dean Connors. Of course, we're going to talk about Ty Simpson. Why wouldn't we talk about Ty Simpson at this point?
Wait,
And
who? Sorry.
yeah, sorry, it's this guy who plays quarterback. I guess he plays for a team called the Rams. I don't know. Ty Simpson. As much as we want to talk really positive about him and the performance that he had, I want to look at this in a little bit of a different perspective. Maybe that NFC West fans are trying to look at this. Ty Simpson looked really good in his first preseason game, but he also did it in his first preseason game, and he didn't really have this kind of national perspective of like Ty Simpson's a really good quarterback. Like he's gotten the praise and the reception this week. He's gotten a lot of talk, and I'm going to say the Saints do their best to try to shut down Ty Simpson, and he's kind of got a target on his back this week that his performance doesn't look nearly as good as it did this last weekend, just because everybody kind of knows the praise he's getting. This Saints defense is going to do everything they can to stop him, and he's not going to look nearly as good.
Ooh, okay. So just to kind of summarize that, you don't think Ty Simpson is going to have that great of a second preseason game?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think that's an overreaction at all. I think like the reality is Ty Simpson is still learning, right? And like especially when you do have a good performance like that, the Saints now have tape on him to watch, right?
Yeah.
You know, what can they do to make him uncomfortable in the pocket? What can they do to like, not that they're going to disguise a lot of coverage in the preseason, right?
Right.
But there are definitely things that the Saints can do to make Ty Simpson's life a little bit harder there than what KC did last week. So, yeah, I'm going to say that's not an over Rams action there.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the chat responding to this? Anybody giving their reactions or?
Yeah, I see a couple things here, and I see Justin is. Justin, are you going to the game? That's exciting. That's cool if you are. Rams Faithful 39 says that's an over Rams action. And the Saints will play the same way the Chiefs played. Those guys on the field want to put good tape on. No one went easy on them. No, that's fair.
Yeah. I see it as a perspective of like NFL athletes with pride that are like, Ty Simpson's not going to do what he did last week. He's getting all this praise. Let's have a good day against him. But I mean, I'd love to be wrong about this take totally. Yeah. But it's interesting. Definitely something that we're going to monitor.
Sheriff Joe says, over Rams action. Ty plays so well, they give him the MVP. But actually, I'm guessing he does just fine. You know what? I'd be cool if they did like an MVP of the preseason. I know that's kind of like an unofficial award or whatever, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Nickelodeon trophy, like Player of the Week, whatever they do with this line. It would feel like that. I feel like.
Asteroid Boss saying, I think that's a fair point this week. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
McVay may put a mini playbook for him this game. Last game was mostly rollouts. Yeah. Fair.
That's interesting. Yeah, they definitely. I mean, they kind of opened it up as the game went on, but definitely the first few drives for sure.
Yeah, another one.
Number 4. This is now going from Dean Connors to Ty Simpson to now CJ Daniels because we heard so much praise about him through training camp, so much excitement. Is this another receiver that the Rams found, diamond in the rough kind of guy? But really, when you look at the performance he had this last game, it wasn't really anything near the hype he was getting in camp and all of that from Rams fans. I'm saying that CJ Daniels won't take any offensive snaps in the regular season, and that's okay.
Yeah, not an over Rams action. Yeah, like that's especially like if the Rams didn't have a stacked wide receiving core, right?
Mhm.
Like CJ Daniels, for all the hype he was getting during training camp, I don't think anyone was like, "Oh yeah, he's going to be wide receiver 3." Like,
Some people,
over. Yeah, I guess maybe that was their bit, but like, I still think like Canota Mempfield or like Whittington are
mhm.
kind of the lock there, and let's not let's not forget the like 5,000 tight ends that all kind of are clones
Yeah.
of each other. So yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, like I don't think that's an over Rams action. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. There was definitely a mini panic that I saw in some portions of the Rams fan base that was just like, I was expecting CJ Daniels to look this way, and it just didn't look quite like that. So definitely gonna be interesting to monitor.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
number 5 in the final potential over Rams action is up to you guys.
Ooh.
Ty Simpson should be QB2. Enough of Stetson Bennett. He has time in this offense. The Rams trust that. He's just the better quarterback, and the Rams should have him at QB2 this year.
I am gonna say that's an over Rams action. I stand by. They have a plan for Ty Simpson. The Rams have always been so good at player development in this McVay and Les Snead era. And if their plan was, we want Ty Simpson to play a lot in the preseason, we want to see him learn how to prepare well. We're going to have him the first couple games in that QB3 spot.
Mhm.
I don't. I think that it's so much. I think there's so much more to it than just, oh, is Ty Simpson, is his ceiling better than Stetson Bennett, right? Like if they trust Stetson Bennett to be ready to play in Australia
Mhm.
more than Ty Simpson right now, based on his experience in this offense and in this scheme, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, that's
Then
fair.
that doesn't mean that Stetson Bennett is going to always be one above Ty Simpson on the depth
Mhm.
chart. That's just the development plan, in my opinion.
It's interesting too because we keep talking about this thing. I keep mentioning it a lot of like, yeah, I do believe Ty Simpson has a higher ceiling. He is better just from a talent perspective than Stetson Bennett is right now. How much weight is put into that, we don't really know. But I wonder if the rush of people wanting Ty Simpson to be QB2 is just the fact that we spent a first round pick on him and he's the new exciting player that we want to see
Yeah.
more. Obviously, we don't want to see Stafford go down or anything like that. But I wonder, when I asked a question to Rams fans of like, it's a, let's just say, week 8 game and Stafford's not playing. We need somebody to be able to command the offense. Do you trust Ty Simpson more or do you trust Stetson Bennett more? And I would be curious to hear what the general, just honest feedback would be, because I wonder how much of this we need Ty Simpson to be QB2 right away is just the fact of what the Rams invested in him
Yeah.
in one really good preseason game. Like it's definitely would be something interesting to be able to survey, because even as I think about it myself, it's hard to be able to separate what we just saw in that preseason game, how exciting that was, how comfortable he did look. It's hard to separate that from the fact of like, okay, who would truly have the better chance, a better opportunity. I think we can kind of trust the Rams to be able to evaluate who's going to be ready at that time should it come.
Well, and to be honest, there's a part of me, this is going to sound ludicrous. There's a part of me that kind of wants to see Ty Simpson throw an interception and see how he responds.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's one of my favorite things about Stafford is like he throws a pick and you're like, I'll get him next time, right? Like like he just shrugs it off right away. And like to
Yeah.
play quarterback in the NFL, you have to have that mental strength to just be like, they got me that drive. I'm gonna destroy them next drive, right? Like
Yeah.
so there's a part of me that like I'd be okay, especially in the preseason when it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. I think we should expect that too, for him to be trying some things and for a defense to make a good play, because those guys are trying too. Those guys are getting paid too, which is definitely something. But I think that is a good point that you bring up there. Something I didn't really think about, because McVay even talks about that all the time of like, you can know who you are as a person when you're going through only good seasons. It's easy to be a good teammate, easier to be a good person, good friend. But like, who are you when something bad happens? How do you respond to that? And it sounds very cliche, but I mean, it's definitely something that separates the good from the great as far as athletes go. Of like, when you do make that mistake, can you go back out there with full confidence and be able to learn from it, not do it again, but not be afraid to throw the football again? That's definitely going to be something cool to monitor for sure.
Absolutely. We got a couple of comments coming in here. It says, Sheriff Joe saying, I'll say the only rookie who gets true reps is Max Clare. Okay.
Really? And that loaded tight end room? I guess maybe
Interesting.
like maybe he's meaning just substituting in a few plays, like keeping guys fresh, maybe.
And they all look the same. So how, unless you're really
That's
paying
true.
attention to the numbers, right?
Yeah. We're gonna see Max Clare sneaking on a Tyler Higbee jersey before the game so he can get in there, get some more
Right.
reps.
Ooh, what strategy. I love it. We should not really be seeing any rookies take many snaps this season because that would mean something went wrong. Yeah.
I agree.
And like the reality is they don't have that many rookies to make this roster. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like McVay was pretty upfront with it too. I don't remember which press conference he said it in, but there was a press conference that he was like,
yeah.
we don't really plan on any of these rookies to get playing time in the regular season. And
Yeah.
so they're going to be getting a lot of looks in preseason. And I appreciated how upfront he is because we can assume as many things as we do. And I think a lot of us assumed this class wouldn't get a lot of playing time. But to hear it straight from the coach is like, okay, we can kind of know what to expect here heading into the
Yeah.
season.
And that's just where this team is at in their roster. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. That's a great spot to be in for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Ty knows the playbook. Unless Stetson is just outright terrible. Ty is not going to be too. No, Stetson knows the playbook. McVay knows his strengths and weaknesses. And you know what? I'm glad Rams Faithful 39 brought this up. Bennett is not Jimmy G and not head and shoulders above Ty. What do you think of the conspiracy theory that Jimmy G has not signed to another team because he's kind of struck a like under the radar deal with the Rams? Like, you know that how Phillip Rivers was like retired but like not. Do you think Jimmy G is just like, I didn't want to do camp, call me if you need me, I'm gonna stay in shape, like just chilling?
I don't know how much weight there is to that theory because I think he was legitimately considering retirement because I did see a post or a report, actually, I don't remember who it was from, that said that the Arizona Cardinals actually were trying to get Jimmy Garoppolo to be their starting quarterback. Obviously, when Mike LaFleur got hired there. And so, if that's true and Jimmy G still decided to pass that up, obviously it is the Cardinals. Maybe that has some weight to it. But the fact he would start up or he would pass up a starting quarterback job to consider retirement, I think there is weight to that. But I think that it's not outside of their own possibilities that the Rams would bring him back as a quarterback, as a backup quarterback. But I just don't know how likely that is, especially because I think he would want to get paid a decent amount as a backup quarterback. And the fact that the Rams do have Simpson and they do have Stetson Bennett, I feel like that probably won't happen. But if it does happen, it's probably more of a thing of like Garoppolo just loves this team and he loves being a backup for the Rams. He's going to take a discount just to provide some good insurance. So I don't really know how much weight there is to that, to be honest.
We got some breaking news here, Rams House.
Ooh, what's that?
GP Shadow is here.
Let's go, GP.
And GP Shadow, thank you for this. And he just sent them to me. And guys, we are so excited. GP Shadow is so generous. He is a Rams season ticket holder at SoFi Stadium. He helped build SoFi Stadium. He was part of the team that helped build SoFi Stadium. And he has been so generous. He has gifted some tickets to the Rams versus Giants game for myself, Rams House, and Sheriff Joe Beggs to go. We get to meet each other for the first time ever. We get to go to a Rams. It's your first Rams game at SoFi.
Yeah, first regular season game ever to be in person.
It's man, I'm so stoked. So GP Shadow, thank you. Like,
yes,
wow, you're incredible. You have brought so much joy into our lives, and we will continue to shout you out for the rest of our lives. Thank
Yes.
you.
Even if you're not in the chat, even if we're just walking around our house, be like,
Yeah.
hey, shout out GP, shout out. That was super
Yeah.
cool.
Just
No,
one of the
genuinely, like that is one of the coolest things I think anybody could do for somebody, especially just like you watch our YouTube videos and you wanted to do that. So genuinely appreciate that because as I said, I've never been to a regular season game in person, much less a regular season Rams game in person.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at SoFi, which I've never been to. Like that's an opportunity of a lifetime. So thank you so much, GP.
And like I've always wanted to go to a Monday Night Football game, and like we get to do that. And it's
First time wearing the yellow jerseys too. They're going to debut. It's the home opener for SoFi. So cannot say that thank you enough to GP. That's just so kind of you.
Absolutely. Well, as soon as I saw him in there, I'm like, okay, we got to shout him out here.
Oh yeah,
we have a couple other questions before we get to our final segment of the night. So at LA824LDR says, question, how do you evaluate Ty versus quarterbacks in the same draft class like Mendoza, Allard, etc.? Thoughts?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think it's, for me, a lot of it comes down to just looking at situations that they're in. Yeah. Because I do think that it's a famous quote that Kevin O'Connell, former offensive coordinator of the Rams, said that organizations fail quarterbacks before quarterbacks fail organizations. And so I think for me, a lot of it is like, okay, looking around at all these different kinds of quarterbacks, where they're playing in. Some rookie quarterbacks may not look that good, but it's like, okay, who's around them? Is this a good coaching staff that's around them? Do they have good playmakers around them? Good offensive line? Because quarterback, while it's such an important position and it sets so much of the team up, you also need a good situation around you. Yeah. So for me personally, like looking at Mendoza, looking at Carson Beck, obviously looking at Ty Simpson, it's really fascinating to be able to watch the different situations that they're in, how they're doing individually, and okay, like how much is this team helping them to be able to progress as an NFL quarterback? Like when I look at what the Rams did with Ty Simpson this last weekend, the way that they built the game plan to just be a lot of the play action rollouts to begin the game, give him some easy completions, that's what a smart organization would do. To build the confidence of a quarterback who's playing in his first NFL game, give him those easy looks, give him confidence, and then open up the playbook. And don't put too much on his shoulders until he looks comfortable. But then other teams may be like, hey, we invested a bunch of picks into this quarterback. It's his job to be able to execute this. Let's put everything on his plate. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So for me, as much as anything, as time goes on with these quarterbacks in this draft class, it's going to be fun to be able to see how much are they a good quarterback just independent of scheme. Like a Matthew Stafford, I think you could put in any scheme and he would do really well in.
Yeah.
But how much are these quarterbacks being put in good positions to be able to succeed? How much is the coaching staff helping them out? And also, I think that, like, lastly, I feel like a lot of people kind of knock quarterbacks for being like a scheme quarterback. Like, oh, he's only putting up these numbers because he's with Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, whatever. But if you're a quarterback that works well in a scheme that has good players around you, it's like, why would you complain about that? Like, they have a good role to be able to do. But for me personally, I'm just going to be evaluating, like, when things go wrong, like you talked about with Ty Simpson, when he throws an interception, how does he respond? Or when the play is just drawn up and it's the worst play you could possibly call for an offense against this kind of defense, what does the quarterback do? Do they panic or do they step up and do something themselves? So there's kind of a lot of layers to it, but that's a bunch of different things that I'm going to be looking at with all these quarterbacks. What about you, though?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And like, I think it's so fun to see the overreaction of one preseason game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the real evaluation will be that, 1-2 years down the way, but it's fun to do it. Like, it's all about the journey, right? And so I'm excited to see, I'm stoked to see Mendoza actually play like with the Raiders. And I think the Raiders did a good job signing Kirk Cousins to kind of be that mentor quarterback to him. I don't know if that was for him specifically. I don't know if there was a better quarterback to sign for that. Yeah. But I agree. Like the situations they were drafted into are very different. And as fun as it is to compare them, we need more time to really compare them. Like see like, whose footwork needs improvement, throwing motions, who goes through their progressions, right? Like what kind of offense are they going to run? How well can they read defenses, right? Like, and that's a huge part of it. And I think, like, especially the football IQ part of it is a big reason why the Rams drafted Ty Simpson to begin with. So yeah, I'm kind of in that camp here. We got shut up. We got First and Tuna in the house. Good to
What's up,
see you,
Tuna?
Tuna. Stoked to meet you in person for the first time when we go to LA in September.
That'd be crazy.
And he's saying, I thought Ty had the makings of being a Brock Purdy copy. All the good parts of his game, ability to be a very good system quarterback with underrated physical traits, arm angles, torque. Yeah. See it?
Yeah, I saw a good amount of people comparing him to Brock Purdy. It's definitely, which I mean, I know people kind of dog on Brock Purdy, but if that's what he ends up being, I think in a Rams offense, that's not the worst result you could get for sure. And most quarterbacks you're going to get is going to be a downgrade from Matthew Stafford. And I think the sooner people realize that, the better. He's not going to be able to do what Matthew Stafford does, but if he can work well in this scheme, continue to get better, continue to progress, and just work well with what the Rams do in particular, like you said, that IQ that he has is certainly going to help a lot. He definitely has some traits, but I can totally see the Brock Purdy comp.
Yeah. I saw a lot of Brock Purdy comp. I saw a lot of Baker Mayfield competition, like comparisons as well.
Yeah.
Are you cool if I go into my final segment of the night?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, folks, this next final segment is called Rams Head to Head. I'm going to pose a question to Rams House and you, the chat, and I will go. I have 10 Rams players, and so I'll give them 2 at a time, and you pick which one stays, which one goes, to hopefully find the ultimate champion of this question.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Which current Rams player would you select to go on a road trip across America with? And your first matchup is Harrison Mevis and Puka Nacua.
That's actually a better question than I think most people would think. Harrison Mevis or Puka Nacua? As much as I want to represent Harrison Mevis, I want to go Puka Nacua just because this guy just seems like a blast to be around in general. Like, no matter what you do, I feel like he would make a road trip feel like it was just like a 5-minute drive. So I would pick Puka Nacua.
Okay. Let's see if anyone can knock off Puka here. That's a good
Okay.
choice. All right, Puka Nacua or Ethan Evans?
I'm going to still say Puka Nacua.
Okay. Puka Nacua or Quentin Lake?
Oh, that's a good one. I really like Quentin Lake as a person. He seems like such a down-to-earth guy to talk to. I'm going to still stick with Puka.
Okay. Puka survives. Puka Nacua or Kevin Dotson?
Sorry, Puka, we're going K-Dot.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd be so fun to be with. That guy's so cool.
K-Dot.
At the very least,
Oh
I could get the ram horns dyed in my hair like he did, and I'd be content.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I don't know. I have some contenders here, but let's see it. Kevin Dotson or Trent McDuffie?
I'm gonna stick with Kevin Dotson.
Okay. Kevin Dotson or Devontae Adams?
That's a good one.
This is a road trip across America. Okay.
Okay, so it would be pretty long. I don't know. I feel like at some point Devontae would just get super tired and just like be like tired about me asking him questions and talking to him. I feel like Kevin Dotson would just be able to be laid back, be able to chill with. So I'm gonna stick with Kevin Dotson.
Okay. Can anyone take down Kevin? I got some contenders here. Okay. Kevin Dotson or Myles Garrett? Road trip across America.
So I'm assuming Myles Garrett would be pushing the car for us.
Yeah. Maybe at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. If we run out of fuel, could do that. I don't know. I'm going to stick with Kevin Dotson.
Okay. I got 2 more here.
Okay.
Kevin Dotson or Matthew Stafford? Road trip across America.
I'm sticking with Kevin Dotson.
Kevin Dotson
Yeah.
taking out the QB. Okay. This is. I had a feeling it might come down to this matchup here. Kevin Dotson or Kobe Turner, the conductor.
Oh gosh, not that. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Arguably two of the coolest guys in the Rams locker room.
Hmm. How did you know? I'm gonna go Kobe Turner, which is crazy. Kevin Dotson lasted a while, but we're gonna go Kobe Turner. He
Kobe Turner.
seems like
Oh,
such a genuine person. He seems like such a cool, like you could talk about life with him, whatever. But then, like if you're driving on the way and you're road tripping, he could sing songs. He could play his guitar. He
yeah.
could record music. Like I don't know. It's tough to beat the conductor, but no shot at Kevin Dotson at all for sure.
Dude, like windows down singing music with Kobe Turner on the highway. I could see it. Yeah.
Life doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, the chat's been fun watching this. A couple of different. Most people seem to agree that K Dot is the way to go here, but
Cool.
a lot of people saying Stafford. I love it. Well, everyone, GP wants big K Dot with the hair rollers.
Yeah, that was funny.
Rams showcase that. Well, thanks for playing. That was a fun one.
That was really fun. And that last decision was absolutely the toughest one.
Yeah, see, he gets it. The road trip sing-alongs.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be so sick.
Tuna's saying K Dot probably number one for me. Just think we'd be into the same stuff. Same. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
I can see that. Yeah.
Justin is picking Stafford, which honestly, I don't think you can go wrong picking any Rams player.
No, absolutely not. As long as it's a guy who wears Rams horns.
Yeah.
I mean, pick Joe or Tuna because they're both horns. I would take
There
that as
you go.
well.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good
Love
one.
the Rams. Yeah.
Well, Rams House, I think we're coming to the end of our show here, but do you got anything coming out this week?
Yeah, it should be hopefully able to get a video out. Just kind of previewing is a weird word to be able to use for a preseason game, but just kind of more talking about which players to look out for in this Rams Saints game. Maybe even a recap on. I think the Rams have a joint practice with the Saints tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
if we get some good information about that, talk about that. Same thing as last week, a recap of the preseason game between the Chiefs and Rams. This week it's going to be the Rams and the Saints. So just kind of that sort of stuff. What about you?
Yeah, it's preseason for us too, getting ready for the season.
Yeah.
If the Aaron Donald news finally comes, I don't think it's coming this week, but if it does come, I'm sure we'll all be kind of freaking out on the internet about that.
Oh yeah.
But I do plan on having a watch party on Saturday for the Rams versus Saints preseason game. Thank you everyone who came to my watch party last week. It was so fun being back. The chat was fire, and super stoked to be doing that again.
Yeah, that should be fun. I absolutely recommend going over, checking out Payo Time's watch party. It just feels like you're a Rams fan watching with another Rams fan in his living room. So I would absolutely recommend that.
Anytime I once had someone tell me that they were watching the game and they were on the toilet for 3 hours with me on their phone and watching the game. I was like, wow, thanks. I feel so honored that you can you can do that.
You're like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And with that, everyone watching with us live or on the replay, thanks for tuning on in. Feel free to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you next Wednesday for First Down Rams.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.